Welcome to another episode of the Rock Fantasy Files with today's special guest and Prika Amara. Did I pronounce it correctly?
Yeah,
guitarist and founding member of the Brazilian thrash metal band Nervosa. This episode, of course, co-hosted by my good friend Robin Mazen, the amazing Mazen, and she kind of put this together. Prika, welcome and thank you for joining us today. I'm absolutely loving the new album, Perpetual Chaos. And I guess how I would start my first question, how did you go about putting together? I call it like almost like a super group with Mia and Diva Satanica and Elena on drums.
Yes, this was a huge challenge for me to form a new band in the middle of the quarantine and a pandemic situation. And I was really, concerned about this because I didn't meet these girls in person. That's why we did a lot of video calls to talk about, because I was completely sure that all the girls was completely able to play all the songs. I was not worried about that. I just was, worried about how the communication and how how we will fit together working, So that's why I did a lot of video calls talking about life in general, just to check how they think about their life, what they want for their lives, for their career, what they think about music, about everything. So yes, we did a lot of video calls. This was the way that I had, in my hands.
Yeah, I'm gonna bounce off that one a little bit, because it seems like from the announcement when like Nervosa, kind of, split and getting the new members and everything, it was like it seemed really quick, like you were almost prepared for it, and like it seemed like you already had like people in mind and everything, possibly, or you just weren't sure, or did they reach out to you, or vice versa, or?
No, this was a surprise for me, because the things was not working very well in Nervosa. Of course, I was expecting this happen in someday, but not in that moment, in the minute of,
it seemed
from
very
nowhere.
Abrupt. It seemed like.
Yes, exactly. So it was a surprise for me in that moment. And then what happened, everyone was worried about the future of Nervosa, and I received many calls from many producers around the world, and everyone, very shocked. And I was, no, Nervosa will never die. This is a certainty. But in the other hand, I really need to show something very fast because I was worried to lose some opportunity, some contracts, and we had a lot of tours, confirmed. Of course, we were in a pandemic situation, but in that season, everyone was expecting this situation was finished soon or in that year, in the end of 2020. But yes, and for 1 week I couldn't sleep, because I was looking for another girls. But of course, all of these girls example I already followed them on Instagram, and I admire their jobs, but it was not something that were in my mind example from the past. I just start to do some list, with everything that I was following and all the girls that I was following. So I would start to do the list, and thinking about the logistic stuff. For example, I had to exclude some awesome girls in some part of the world because of the logistic stuff. It's completely, and yeah, it was 1 week crazy. One of the craziest week in my life was this week.
I can only imagine. Yeah. Like it just seemed like it was, I didn't know if you reached out to them and all that, but I think you got a pretty good lineup there now, I would think.
Here's a picture. We're not high tech like some other channels that have like floating album covers. So
yeah, we're not high tech here. Sorry.
we're low tech, but here's the inside of the album. Of course, if people haven't picked this up, make sure you pick this album up. I think if you're like thrash, blackened, I'd say the new album is more of like a blackened thrash. And you got a little black metal element in it now, and it's a great listen. I think.
That's gonna be. Can I piggyback off that?
Please.
So like as far as going with the style, like from the first album and second album and everything to this, it does seem like the style has changed a little bit to more of that black and metal. Was that like done on purpose, or is that the direction that you wanted to go, or everything?
Yeah.
Or,
Yeah, if you see the guitar riffs example, I think it didn't change so much. Of course, there is now a little bit of influences from black metal, but it's just a little bit. And I think the main change in the band was the vocal, because the vocal is more brutal, it's more death metal and black metal.
Yeah.
So this brings the new for the band. But I think the guitar riffs are still kind of the same in the beginning, mainly on this album, because I really wanted to bring our roots, more thrash and a little bit of the influences from punk as well, that it's more thrash. And of course, we keep the death metal there, because since the beginning we had this influence and this was growing in each album. But I was super happy with this new influences from black metal, because I like black metal. I'm not a huge fan. I don't like every black metal band, but I like many of them, and I really like the mix. When you have a band that you have these kind of influences from black metal, I completely love, and I feel really happy with this.
Did everybody collaborate on the new record, or was it mainly just you possibly writing it?
Yeah, the most part of the album I did, because of the distance, because we didn't know each other very well, and I really wanted to keep the essence of Nervosa, and the unique person that couldn't do it was me. So yeah, we were working together. They were learning, in the process of the album, how to work it together, and the participation was growing and growing in each song. But of course, for the next album will be completely different, and the girls can be, to have more participation for sure. And I wanted this.
Yeah.
Awesome. I was gonna, for now, I was gonna touch on my thoughts on each of these new songs, and maybe you could give a little insight on each track and the message behind the songs. This album rips to me from the nasty. It's like a nasty, powerful speed fest, and at times. And of course, starting off with track number 1, which is Venomous. I think that song absolutely kills. The drums killing it, and that's the vocals from Diva. Is there what do you have to say about that song, like the meaning behind it, or the ideas? Did you do the lyrics on that one too?
Yes, this song has a really cool history behind, because this was the first song that we composed together before the Leonard Love to be confirmed, because this was the last test for the girl, because we did a lot of video calls, and then when I was sure that this was the right girl to be with me, and I say, okay, let's see if it's composing together, if it really works, this was the last thing. So, and then I did the riffs, the guitar riffs, and I sent it to the girls, and I say, do your parts and send me back. And when the girl sent me her parts, and we tried to work and change some details, but when we finish it, I say, yes, this is the new Nervosa. And then we start to compose another one, and then I confirm it to them, and say, yes, you are in Nervosa now. And I say, yes. So this needs to be the opening song for the album,
Excellent. And then like track number 2, you get slammed to the ground. I think the beginning of that starts out like a doomy Sabbath style opening, the Guided by Evil, which of course is also the first video that you guys put out, and it simply takes out like a blast coaster, and it slows down, and we get like that nasty lead that you throw in here, and it's just I think that's another great song.
Yeah, I heard the Sabbath in there as well on that one. At that, I don't know. I would think that was on purpose.
Yes, You can see my smile, you know, because this was the intention. And I really love Black Sabbath and Tony Iommi. It's one of my biggest influence, you know, and yeah, to bring this, you know, atmosphere, like, you know, the sensation. And I really wanted to do this. And this song is, I think it's a resume of the album, you know. You have thrash metal there, you have death metal there, and you have a black metal there. So yes, that's why we choose, but it was really hard to choose the first song to show everyone. It was really, really hard.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good problem to have if you can't decide which one for people that you want them to hear first.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And was there any meaning behind that song, like the Guided by Evil? What's the meaning behind the lyrics, or it's just a metal type song?
Yes, and you know, it's about the seasons that we are living, you know, because the people, because of the internet, everyone is behind of the computer.
Yes.
And the people doesn't have, you know, the courage to show who you are, you know, really. And they are always treating badly behind you in the back, like a snake, you know. And yeah, this was talking about this, the people that don't have courage to say the truth in your face, something like that.
Okay. And then track number 3 brings us to, I think, one of my favorite songs on the album, The People of the Abyss. It's like a dark, heavy ride through this song. There's some monster drumming in it and kicking in throughout it all. And like the lyrics, the people of the abyss and hell, people of the abyss insane. I mean, it's just, I just love that song. What's that song all about? The meanings behind that?
Yes, this is one of the heaviest topic in the album because it talks about the pedophilia. So yes, the people, it's living in a really abyss. They are empty, you know. And yes, this feeling was really hard to bring to write this lyric. You know, I just participated in some words. This lyric more for diva, but I love the chorus of this song because it's we can sing. You know, it's very melodic, but it's still very heavy and brutal, and I like this. Yeah.
And then the next song reminds me a little bit like Slayeristic at times, The Perpetual Chaos, which is another rager. And that's another great song. You have a lyric video up for that, I know, on the YouTube.
Yes, this is the name of the album, and it means that, you know, doesn't matter how many years we are passing through, but we will commit the same mistakes. And this talks about the humanity, you know, and mainly because of these times, we are seeing many leaders in many countries saying a lot of very bad speeches, you know, that we never was thinking that it was possible to repeat. And this is repeating. So this thing that we are not learning, we were repeating and repeating. That's why Perpetual Chaos.
Yes.
And this is one of my favorite lyrics on this song, and it was inspired a lot on the Sepultura songs, the groovies.
Yeah, okay.
And of course,
the Sepultura.
Yeah, I heard a little bit of that, but I did hear a little bit of the Slayer, like world painted blood style Slayer, like the
exactly,
you know, on that.
And the Perpetual Chaos is going to last for 1 million years, I heard. And then we move on to Until the Very End. And I think I saw a video of you talking about this, and this is something about like mental health and suicide, correct?
Yes, exactly. And on this, again, you know, on these times that we are living, and it's very sad, you know, there is a lot of that. We are blocked. Everyone that has some depression problems, it's worst now, even worse.
Of course.
So we really want to talk about it, but in the same time, give some, you know, empathy, and to say that in the end, everything will be fine. So we put ourselves in their place to try to feel what they feel, to talk about it, and say, in the end, everything will be fine, be strong, something like that.
Excellent.
Yeah, something positive. And we have a really good participation and very special participation for a friend of mine. It's a guitarist of Entombe, the AD, and the other band Crow. And he's a
Okay.
Brazilian guy. And he was helping me on this album with the solos because I really wanted to create better solos. And I was not having too much time, and I really want to do some stuff that and he
Yeah.
helped me. And I say, yeah, it would be very fair if you can do a solo and a participation. He said, yes, of course. And he were with us there on Malaga recording this album, and he participated in some parties there.
Awesome.
Excellent. And I guess when we move on to another special guest, you have on Genocidal Command with Smear of
Smear.
Destruction as like a blistering song, which I thought is really great lyrics. And, you know, you guys just released a video for that out also, which is a lyrical video. I really would have loved to be able to see Smear with you guys all interacting, you know, together too, but understandable that can't happen right now very well.
Yes, but this will happen for sure, you know, because we always are meeting each other on the road. Now Nervosa, it's more European band, so for sure we will have opportunity to be together and sing this on stage, and maybe record some videos. I don't know, and
Yeah.
this is very special for me because Destruction is one of my favorite bands and one of the bands that most influenced me. And Shamir became a big friend of mine, and he was very important in the history of Nervosa because he always supported Nervosa since of the beginning. We already did 3 tours together, 2 in Europe and 1 in Brazil, and he became to be very close to me. And when the band split it, he supported me a lot, and this participation is very important for me.
Excellent. And I guess we'll move on to side 2 of the record. If you're listening to it on vinyl like I do, and Time to Fight starts the second half of this, and it leads, like the leads on this are like super fast. And like that song to me, when I was listening to it the other night, I was listening in this room and just had a couple drinks and just trying to dig in, knowing we were going to get to talk to you later in the week. And it was kind of like, to me, it's like if Ace of Spades and Whiplash had a kid. And it was just that evil, and of course that with Diva's vocals, it just throws it over the edge. I think it's a great track to start off side 2.
Yes, it's a punk, power metal, thrash metal song.
Yeah, a little bit of everything.
Yes, it's a crazy, but this is one of the positive lyrics on the album as well. It's like we are together, let's fight for this problem.
The metal anthem, the metal, like,
it really is.
Exactly.
Everybody needs a metal anthem. That's like,
it's one of them. I mean, there's a lot of metal anthems, I think, on this album. I think we could pick a couple.
Yeah, depends of the perspective. If you start to think about this moment, you have just bad things to say. And I don't want this album to be 100% negative. I really want to bring some positive in the middle of the shit things happen. So that's why time to fight. Yeah.
And then we move on to the track number 9 on the album is Godless Prisoner, and also has a great lead that you threw into that. It just comes out of nowhere, like if you're grooving on headphones listening to this, and then all of a sudden it's like bam in your face.
Yeah, this is a very black metal lyric again. Because talks about religion,
Yeah.
I'm not against religion. I'm happy if you are happy, something like that. But I'm talking about how the people are super slave from, the religions and from the faith. This has to be something very soft. That's something that needs to help you, not take a lot of time and not crucify you or something like that, So I bring some hypocrisy point there.
And then we move on to track number 10, Blood Eagle. It's like an omnibus groove that sends you down like into like a blistering speed metal chase. That's my take on that song.
Yes, this became from a project that I had 3 years ago with a friend of mine on drums, and this was a death metal project. And I bring it to New Nervosa because I think this fits very well for this new voice, and it's the lyrics talks about the series Vikings, the
That's what I
ritual.
thought. I know that was a Viking term, the Blood Eagle. Yeah, I've actually been preparing to watch the final season of Vikings myself right now.
Exactly.
My wife and I are big fans of that series, and I know the new season is out on like Amazon Prime exclusive, I believe now. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to check that out. But yeah, so
Yeah.
so it's kind of like your Viking metal song.
Yes, I love this series. And when I saw this episode, as I think it's the third season, I don't know.
Yeah.
And there is a very painful sacrifice,
Yes.
it's the worst sacrifice ever. And I was, completely this way. And I was, yeah, it's a really good topic, to write a very
Yeah.
brutal lyric. And then I use this to write.
It's very like the Amon Amarth style, which I'm also a big fan of the Amon Amarth band. But yeah, great. And track number 11, the Rebel Soul. Another one in my mind that worked that night when I was listening to it was like Motorhead meets Destruction. It'll have you like pacing and racing along with the whole song, and it has guest vocals from Flotsam and Jetsam's vocalist, correct?
Exactly. I love this song. I think it's one of our favorite songs in the album. We had a lot of fun because this song was the last song in the album, and we composed it there in Malaga on the studio. And we were missing some more rock and roll vibes in the album. And I say, there's nothing more rock and roll than Motorhead. So let's be inspired for this and let's create something. And yeah, we created the songs, and we really felt that we need to call someone to bring a more heavy metal vibes to there.
Okay.
And Eric, it's a friend of mine. We toured together, and I was thinking to call him. He were on the studio recording. It was, yes, this will be easy. Let's do it. And this was the last thing that was in the album. We already had the album mixed, and we are just close and finished, and then the vocal lines from him arrived on the album, the last minute.
Oh my god.
But was like yes, we were partying when this arrived to us, and our producer said, yeah, just give me 1 minute. And then we start to open the beers and do some cheers. And then when we arrived back to the studio, and when he put the play, we went, yeah. This was like the World Cup, championship, like this, something like that.
Yeah, great. Then we'll go on to track number 12, Pursued by Judgment. I didn't put too many notes down on that. At times, Diva might remind me a little bit of Angela Gasso from Arch Enemy at times, just her style, especially if you're not familiar with the band. It's like, she sounds like that a little bit. And maybe on that track a little bit more at times. But I was also a big fan of Angela when she was in Arch Enemy.
Yes, for sure. Angela, it's I think for the women in our metal scene, it's one of the biggest, influence and example, and mainly for the vocalist. And I agree with you, and I like that, that there is something similar between two of them. And this song, I think we have a very special lyric that talks about a really true story, and very sad that's happening in Brazil. And it talks about something that is happening on these times as well, because of the internet. If you do something wrong, everyone is start to judge you very, aggressive. Doesn't matter if you have a chance to prove that you are innocent or not. You know, the
Yeah.
people don't give a time to do it, and everyone starts to judge me very bad. And this inspired to me to remember me this history some years ago. I think it was 8 years ago in Brazil. A girl was accused to be pedophile, and all the neighborhoods killed her, pushing, just kicking her, and he
Uh,
died. She died. But
uh,
after that, the police discovered that she was completely innocent. So
uh,
she died because of the judgment of the people, and this is completely sad, and we have to stop this. I'm completely a favor for the justice be done, but we have to be careful, and we have to check the proofs and everything. So
yes.
let this for the justice, where after prove that someone it's guilt or something like that, and then we judge the people, but not before.
Yeah, and also once the truth comes out, everybody's so stuck on the original story, they don't
Uh,
wanna, it's hard for them to hear the truth about it. So
there's a lot of similarities between Brazil and United States. In fact, I interviewed
everywhere.
Moses from Caribbean
Yes.
last summer, and we were talking about things with the pandemic in the United States and things with the pandemic. I'm like, wait a minute, your president is the same as mine, or is your country's the same as mine? It was very, very similar. A lot of the topics that you guys are living through down there.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think we understand each other because we were living the same,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yep.
And I guess we'll wrap up this album with the final track. Is another video from the album Under the Ruins. The lead in that Under the Ruins just flows in and destroys. And that groove to that song with like Diva doing that Under the Rubble. And then it's like, I don't care anymore. It's just, it might be my favorite track on the album. It's tough because I really love the People of the Abyss along too. But what's your take on what's Under the Ruins all about?
Yes, I think this song has the biggest influences from Slayer, and I love it because it's one of my favorite bands ever.
Yeah.
And the history behind it's very special because it talks about a child that lives on the street and the suffering. That's something that's very common around here, and we love it to record this album. We recorded in Milano, in Italy, and it was a very good moment between all of us because we were missing each other. And this happened 2 weeks after we recorded. So were feeling like we were a really family, and we were completely happy. But we have to put bad faces to record the the video clip. It was a little bit hard. That's why on the video clip I was with my hair, on my face because I couldn't hidden my smile, because I was super happy.
Yeah, just a solid album in general. And I have to be guilty. I've listened to some of your albums and sold them over the years, but I never. And I think maybe just because with the pandemic, and I saw the album cover to this. I mean, the album cover art is just going to grab you if you're in a record store. Anyhow, you're going to say, "Wow, this looks great." It's like the old school where you went and bought a record. Back in the day, I'm an old man, so I would go in a record shop back then. You didn't have social media, didn't have anything. It's like, this looks great. And of course,
Yes, I'm very classical person, and I really wanted to go back to the roots there, and I really love this, the old school vibes. I love it.
And I really loved, I don't know if I mentioned while we were taping, right before we went live, my wife and I have sat, we watched all the documentary clips, and it really put you in, it felt like you really got to know the band and having all the different people and, like an international lineup with you meeting them at the airport and then going to the studio. It looked like you were having a very good time doing the record. How long did you guys actually spend in Brazil doing this? And where are you in Brazil anyhow? I forgot to ask you when I first started what city you are talking to us from tonight.
Yeah, we recorded the album in Spain, in Malaga, And now I'm in Brazil now, in São Paulo region. But I'm just here because it's a cheaper country, you know, to spend these days. There's no sense for me to be in Europe spending money, you know, and it's very expensive. And here it's very cheap. So that's why I'm here, and an opportunity to be around my family as well, because I always on the road. And it was 1 month that we spent to record this new album. And the drummer was with me since of the beginning to the end. Mia arrived in the second week, and Diva arrived in the third week. She just were there for 1 week just. But
did that differ on doing it this way in Spain or compared to the rest of your other recordings? Like, I feel like on the other recordings, everybody was there almost the whole time, right? Or am I wrong on that?
Yes, it's because we start to recording the drums first, and then the guitars, and then the bass, and then the vocals. Depends of each of us, you know. I really love this process, and I really want to be there for the whole time, and you know, be part of this, because I really love studio recordings and plugins and everything. I love these things, productions in general. But there's some musicians that doesn't like it. There's just want to be there just to record their parts and go away or something like that. In the past, we didn't have like a group and everyone just go there to record their parts and, you know, just go away. But Diva example just could be for 1 week because she's a nurse, and of course she couldn't be, you know, there too much time because she needs to work. And but we had you know, like in the first day that we meet each other in all of these girls, we had a party. We couldn't record anything, you know, because we were just talking about all the time and screaming, and we couldn't, you know, just keep the happiness there just to record. No, we were dying, and we had to scream, and we had to party. And then the day next, okay, let's record. This was the older process there, and it was a really awesome vibes, you know, and we really felt that we were a really family. That's something that I was missing in Nervosa, and I'm completely happy with these vibes because this is really something that I always wanted.
Yeah, I mean, that's very important. I like I mean, I tour, you know, constantly with a lot of bands, and I have bands, and you know, when the bands are like so tight and family, it definitely is a different vibe all around, you know, and that's like super important.
Exactly. You know? When we lost the having fun, you know, there's something wrong. And I love parties. I love to be with my friends. I love to drink and I love to talk, you know. I really love to have experience. I don't like to be like alone, you know. I know I'm going to sleep. Of course, if I'm super tired, I go to sleep. But normally I like this, you know. This is big part to be musician. Yeah, you know that. I know.
I understand. Everybody makes fun of me that I won't ever go to bed because I'm afraid I'm gonna miss something.
Exactly.
I'm like up to like I'm like 5 years old. Like if I go to bed, something's gonna happen. I can't go to bed. Like I need to be part of this. I totally understand. I'm like, yes, staying up, waiting. Like even though nothing's happening, I need to be. I'm like, what's gonna happen? I don't know.
Yes, exactly. So. And the girls, it's exactly like me, you know, because I really feel necessary to enjoy, you know, every moment. If I'm losing time sleeping, you know.
Yes, I understand.
I just sleep when I really need.
There's like time to sleep, but there's plenty of time to sleep when you're dead.
Yeah, that's an old saying we've all heard. I mean, there's plenty of time during the pandemic too. I guess you can actually sleep more now because there's nothing going on.
I know.
At times.
Crazy.
when I describe, now that, since this album's come out and I've been selling it in the shop, and, the last few weeks I was, and I found out that we were going to talk to you through Robin a few days ago. When I described to friends and customers about this new album, and, it's like, great thrash metal album. It's all female album. And then I'll mention, well, do you know the vocalist they have in this album was on a video that was shooting around social media. I guess it was 3 or 4 years ago when Diva did the voice in Spain. And there's everybody I know. When I mentioned, did you see the girl that sang the Marilyn Manson in a death metal style? Like almost everybody I talk to knows that video.
Yeah, it's very famous, and I love it because she was singing very common and normal songs, but with a guttural way. And when you were seeing her on stage there on the voice, you say, okay, she will sing a rock, voice or something like that, and then she just started, and I loved it.
and the looks on their faces, like the judges, because they had their backs turned to her. And I never watched a show in the United States or any country, but but they have their backs, and then they just hear this, first very nice because she started singing it very normally, then all of a sudden it was, and like the face, like the woman was like,
yeah. And I like this because it came from a girl, and anyone was expecting anything like this, and I love this.
Well, one more thing I have to add, I guess, I don't know if it makes any sense to anyone but me, but I was a big fan of Girl School back in like late 70s, early 80s. I used to go see them in the clubs in New York City area, New Jersey. And the energy that your band throws off is not like the same style of music, but I feel that same energy a little bit from like Hit and Run and Demolition Boys and stuff like that. I don't know. That's probably just my brain. But.
Exactly. It's exactly what I want, Okay. I was missing a rock and roll lifestyle, Everyone is pretending many things on the internet. Yes, something like that, but it's very robotic, and it's not the true, and I was missing. I really need something very rock and roll, but truly not something like that sings like or something like that. I love your doggy. It's so cute.
Oh yeah, Daisy showed up to say hello. She's a fan.
Oh.
I listened to your album all day yesterday when we were driving around.
But I have like a question because I know the band started out like as a 4 originally, right? It was a 4-piece, and then you went to a 3-piece, and now you're 4-piece again, but still only with one guitar. Do you prefer it that way, or do you ever think about having another guitar player, or is that too like, because the old school thrash for sure most of the time had like, sometimes they had 2, sometimes they had 1. It just all depended on like what you wanted.
Yes, since of the beginning, the idea was to put the 2 guitars on the band, but right after the guitarist left the band, we saw that it's were being easy to be a trio because it's cheaper to travel. We were booking more shows because we were a trio and something like that. And it was very hard to find musicians in that season in the beginning. Now we have more options because there's a lot of very young girls coming, very, very good. But in that season, we had just few options. And these few options was not ready to be on tour all the time, example.
Yeah, you guys tour a lot. You guys tour a lot.
Exactly. And that's why we decided to be like a trio, because it's something like it's different as well. It was a huge challenge for me and for the band as well. And I think it was good, during this time it was good. But for this time, I really wanted just a single vocalist, not playing something and sing, because I really want to bring something more interactive between the crowd and the vocalist, for the movements on stage, and to left the past behind. Nervosa, it's not a Nervosa cover, something like that.
Yeah.
And I really need to bring, I really wanted to bring something different. But on the other hand, I have to choose between a single vocalist or guitarist, because we already have one member more, so we have to change some shows that were already booked. So it's one more ticket to flight. It's one more person to share the fee and everything. And it's the 3 new members. So it was a huge challenge for me to manage everything. So one member more, I think it's too much for now, but maybe for the next album can be a very good thing. Let's see what's happened. And
Yes.
but it's something that it's really my mind.
Okay. I mean, I have more questions if you want.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
I ran the
So-
whole show for a while, Robin. Sorry,
Oh,
I was
it's okay.
driving the bus.
That's why it's good. I have these other
I
questions and
wanted
you
to
have
dig
the
into
album
that new
questions and it
album
goes
because I was
together.
such a fan. I'm a fanboy here. So
So you mentioned the death metal project that you were doing. I'm kind of interested in that. And I knew you did the collaboration thing with Moises, right? Didn't you do that? And then and I can't remember who else was on there. And then did you have any other bands besides Nervosa and those other things?
From the last 3 years, I was feeling, very necessity to do something different, because I'm just playing Nervosa from the last 8 years, just Nervosa, anything more. Neither one cover, anything, just Nervosa. So I was feeling that, I think this is good, because make you grow like a musician, and you can bring it another things to the band. I don't see this as a problem. Of course, I will never will do anything to disturb the Nervosa plans or anything like that. Just on my free time to do some stuff besides it's really good. But everything that I started, I couldn't finish because of the activity of Nervosa.
Yeah.
And with this project that we had, it's called it Bad. And we did just 2 songs, and these 2 songs, it's on the album now. One is Blood Eagle, and another one is a bonus track that we released it just in a special vinyl edition. That's Born of Hatred.
Okay.
But that's why I decided to bring it to Nervosa, because I realized that we couldn't do more than this.
So like the death metal project was like just you and
the drummer. Yeah, I was a vocalist of this project.
okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
Right.
I like to do some participation in a vocal. Of course, I'm not a vocalist because I don't sing. I bark.
That's okay.
Yes. But I like to do this, and just participation in some bands and some friend of mine, but not like a really project or something like that. But I really want to do a project playing blues and 70s songs.
Oh, wow.
I love that.
I love it. It's my second favorite style of music. It's first, of course, it's metal. The second one is 70s.
Yep. I'm like a 70s oldies, like we talk about. Yeah, he is too. We do a lot of that
too. We wanted to do an episode in a few weeks where we were just talking about our favorite 70s tunes. So maybe we can have
you can be on there.
Back on that one.
So with that,
yes.
With that, like, who would you say is like your main influences with the 70s? And if you could pick any artist, who would you want to collaborate with the most?
Wow. For me, from the 70s, I would say everyone almost, but mainly, of course, Jimi Hendrix.
Okay.
And Grand Funk Railroad. I love this band. Yeah, okay. It's completely different, but I love them, And of course, Led Zeppelin. It was the first band that I listened in my life. And Yeah, the rest, it's everything. I think it is everyone in the same level for me. Like a Buffalo, funny example. There is yeah, there's more, and yeah, many.
I know it's like hard. Like that's why I was like, but everybody always asks that. So I was just curious, like if you could pick whoever you want to collaborate, like if you had like if you could form like an all-star band, who would you want to like collaborate with the
You're
most?
all-star metal group.
Oh yeah. Doobie Brothers. I love to. I love
Doobie Brothers?
Yeah, but I would like to collaborate it with all of these bands that I like, but I really want to create some 70s songs and call some friends to do some participation as well, because for me to make a participation of this huge band is something that it's a dream very far that we never had. So thinking more about my true life, I think this is my plan to do some stuff like that and call some friends.
Yeah,
Right.
it would happen. It could happen.
Yeah.
It will
This
happen.
is the time to do it. We have
Yeah.
time. This is the time.
Everybody's sitting around, so it's like. And as far as like, I know you guys tour like a lot. What would you say was your favorite show ever, if you had to pick like your favorite all around?
It's very hard to choose just one.
I know. I could say what was your worst one, and that's probably easier to pick.
Yeah. But I can say some moments.
Yeah.
But before that, for me, the best shows, it's the shows that we are with the friends or making friends and have fun. Are the best. It's almost every show, but
Yeah.
there's some shows that it's in my dreams, like 70,000 Tones of Metal.
That was great.
Yeah. We meet each other there, and it was such an awesome experience. And we were. Yeah, and the Crisium guys were there, and we had a lot of fun. We stayed drunk for many nights.
Awesome. That was one of the best times.
Yeah. And I love this moment. And we had, of course, the Rock in Rio in Brazil was a very special moment. It's a completely dream come true, because this is the maximum that we can do in Brazil, example. And we had some shows, example, in the very middle of nowhere in Bolivia, example, in a city called Cochabamba. In the middle of the mountains, it's a very high place, and it's completely crazy, another world. And this was a very special experience to play in Asia for the first time as well.
Yeah.
And to be in a tour bus for the first time with the Destruction and Flotsam Jetsam that make part of this new album. This was a very good experience. It's maybe the best tour that I did, It was party every night, and I have a friendship with everyone till now. And yes, these moments, and example, a festival in Mexico with a lot of people, I think 40,000 people, something like that. All the festivals in Europe, it's very hard to describe.
I find that too. Like if somebody asks me, I find that my favorite shows are, it's not even, I mean, the crowds are great, but it's the people that make it more, more fun. And that's usually like if my friends are there, or bands that I'm friends with and love, and the fans are cool, that's more of a thing than the amount of people,
Exactly.
Some people think that, the best show must be the one with the biggest crowd. It's like, not necessarily. not all the time.
One of the best experience that I had on tour was in a very small show in Russia, in the middle of nowhere. For 20 people, something like that. But after this show, we had a lot of fun between of the opening band from Italy, and they are one of my best friends today. And I remember that histories, and we're laughing a lot. So these are the best moments.
Yeah, that's true. So I got a couple more, and then we'll probably wrap it up. And
Yeah,
then,
we'll have to wrap it up soon. I
Yeah.
had one more talking about tours.
all right, you wrap it up and then I'll go.
No, I mean, I got one more, then you can do yours, then we'll wrap it up. We'll keep it
Okay.
around an hour. So an hour with Nervosa is a good episode. And we were talking before we went on about a tour that was supposed to happen in 2020, and we know none of them happened, but you were coming around with Amorphous when they were doing a Tales of a Thousand Lakes. And I think Entombed AD and you guys were coming, and you had a couple dates around New York City, and I would have definitely been at those shows. It's just, a year without shows. Ugh.
Yes, this was a very sad moment for us to cancel this tour because the expectation was, super big. And we are working hard to do a tour in USA and Canada for many years, but we never could because of the visas. It's very hard,
Okay.
and we need a very long time to plan these. And sometimes we have another tour coming, and we don't have time to be in Brazil to get the visas. These kind of things. But for now, I think we are more organized, and everyone being in Europe, it's easier to do all the bureaucracy stuff there, like visas and everything, and because we are living there now. And yeah, we are working like this is one of our priority, to go to USA and Canada. It's one of our biggest audience, and we really need, because the first and last time that we were in USA was in 2016. It's
Wow.
so long time ago, no, and really have to go back. And we
Was
are
that-
working.
You guys toured with Suspended on that, right? I believe, was that with Suspended? Is that what's
Exactly.
Suspended? Yeah.
Yeah, I love
trying to remember. So, okay. I remember that because I remember because I kind of knew them from like shows in New Mexico. They were good. They were a good band.
Yeah, yes, I love these girls. They are awesome person and awesome musicians. And we did the 2 tours that we did in USA. We did it with them,
Okay.
and I miss it a lot. And we had a lot of good histories in USA as well. When we play, example, in New Orleans, when we play in Los Angeles and San Francisco, and many parts. USA is a huge country, and I have many memories, different memories, and I miss this a lot.
Well, hopefully this year, I'm hoping that, now that stuff is starting to open, hopefully something will happen this year.
End of the year. By this time next year, hopefully we're back to some normal. We're not.
I hope before that.
Talking on Zoom.
I don't know if I can sit home any longer. I'm losing my mind. Okay.
Yes, I really hope that the life came back to the normal, because it's a long time now blocked here, but I don't have good expectation for Brazil. All the expectation that we have is for Europe and USA. Brazil, it's so far. We are living now the worst season for the pandemic situation now.
It is. So the virus rates are bad in your country right now, are they?
It's summer there, right?
Oh, right. It's warm.
Yeah, it's summer. And but for the first time since the pandemic situation started, for the first time we are doing the lockdown. That's why we are.
Wow.
Yeah, we didn't.
First time.
We didn't have lockdown.
Yeah, I know you didn't really have a lockdown because I've been talking obviously to Chrisian, and I don't want to name Vander and and all that, and I've been keeping in touch with all of them, and they're just like, yeah, everything's normal, and I'm like, but I haven't heard that you've been locked down now. That's
because
crazy.
The tests now are completely crazy. There is no room in the hospital. The people are dying in the front of the hospital. In everywhere, in all the states of Brazil. It's not in a region, in everywhere. This is very sad.
Crazy.
So the expectation here is not good, but for the USA and Europe, the expectation is very good, and I think everything will end till the end of this year, and next year I think we can be back in a normal life. or it's something that I want to believe.
Yes, knock on wood, cross fingers, you know.
Yeah. I got a
Knock
wooden
on wood,
cabinet
like-
over here.
So,
Yeah.
but so yeah, like what would be the message, what would be your final message to your fans, like as far as like with everything, as we were just talking about the pandemic and the new music and everything that we've been talking about?
Yes, I would like to say a huge thank you so much, because the support that we had from the fans and from the all medias, from the everyone was incredible, you know. And it was a very delicate moment for the band because the huge change, but the support was awesome. I was expecting to lose a part, a little part, you know, from the crowd, from the fans.
Yeah, I don't
But
think you did at all. Like
no,
nothing. I think it was the opposite.
Got new
exactly,
ones like me.
exactly. And this is
Yeah.
incredible. This is incredible because
Yeah.
in all the history of the music, this is not something that is common. So I feel that I'm really lucky, and I have the best fans in the world, and I really want to say thank you so much. And I really wanted to give this back with shows and tours, but unfortunately we can't. That's why we are creating many videos in our YouTube channel, like the documentary for the recordings. I really wanted to bring the fans for this very special moment, and everyone leave this with me, you know, meeting the girls for the first time in the airport. I say,
Yeah.
take the camera now. Everyone has to see this, because I really wanted everyone there. You know, it's just a way to give back all the love that I received from everyone. And so I'm very thankful for this.
Awesome. And then my
Definitely.
final question is, and we've been asking this now as a joke, but does pineapple belong on pizza?
No, pineapple in
Thank
the
you.
pizza. It's a
Oh,
crime.
no, she agreed with
Thank you.
you.
High five. High five.
That was actually a question that was that Alex Baux from Immolation was the only one that actually asked you, because we just did a panel earlier this afternoon with the guys from Venom Inc. and we had Alex from Immolation, we had John Magatee from Incantation, and we were talking about pizza toppings. And Robin was so mad that a couple of the guys in Venom and whatnot said, "Yeah, pineapple on pizza."
No, this is a crime.
It's a total crime. Total crime.
Yeah.
Crime against humanity.
Exactly.
Pineapple on hot dogs.
No.
And I don't like mix anything sweet with the salt, or is sweet or is salt.
Did I say that
You know-
earlier? I
Yeah,
said
yeah,
exactly
you
that.
guys
I
are- you
said,
guys
keep
are
my
linked.
fruit in my fruit. Don't mix my fruit with other fruit.
Exactly. Eat
It doesn't belong.
separately.
I said that exact same thing. I'm like, nope.
I guess on our closing closing notes for
Night
tonight's
notes.
episode. I'd like to thank you for putting out an album during the pandemic, because it means a lot to me when I get a new album and I get to bring it home and listen. I can't go to the concert, but a lot of bands, of course, are waiting till it's over. But I give you guys a lot of credit for popping one out now, and it's something that brightens a lot of people's lives, getting some new exciting music in their lives, you know.
Wow, this is one of the best things to listen, you know. This make me happy, and this give me more energy to create more. And
Yeah.
thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your time, and thank you, Robin, for hooking up with Prika and getting her on the Rock Fantasy Files. And I'm going to
Yes,
Fantasy Files t-shirt, so I'll send you one, and we'll have to. I'll hit you up on social media.
yes. Thank you so much, guys, for this opportunity. It was a huge pleasure. It was a very good talk, and thank you so much. And I really hope to see you soon on the road.
I know. I hope so. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But
All right.
please
Well,
take
thank
a
you.
moment.
Appreciate
Please
it.
take a moment to subscribe to the Rock Fantasy Files channel and to Nervosa channel too. Yes, please. And they've got some great videos to watch. So please go there tonight and watch some Nervosa videos. It got the documentaries I thought were amazing. The same feeling that you had. I felt like, yeah, we were there hanging out, and it looked so much fun.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you.